He's not just gonna lay like
Yeah. 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 What's up? What's going good? Everybody, this is the February 21st, 2021 episode of the Boxing Source Radio Show. I'm your host, J.R. Bell, the leader of the Boxing Source on social media. We are getting this thing cracking. This will be available on iTunes, but right now, this is a live portion. So for those catching this thing on the podcast later on, we give thanks and props for y'all to, being a part of, this particular movement. You know what I'm saying? So what's happening is we gonna get this thing jumping off. We got a lot to talk about. There was a lot of action that went down, a lot of action that was shaking, last night. And we gonna get through as much as we possibly can, on this particular podcast, man. We gonna get at it. We gonna get at it, you know what I'm saying? And we wanna, go ahead and, jump off with, what was happening over in Las Vegas first. You know what I'm saying? That was the, talk of everything, you know what I'm saying? From the main event to the co-feature bout, other action that was there over in the bubble at Las Vegas MGM Grand Ballroom. And we're going to, top it off with that WBC super featherweight title fight. Miguel Berchelt versus Oscar Valdez. You had, of course, Berchelt, the long-reigning WBC super featherweight champion. He was coming in there, with a record of 37 wins and just one loss. He had not lost a bout since 2014. He had like a good string of victories since his debut in 2010, and then had lost in 2014, but had not lost a fight since. Was able to get that WBC super featherweight title in 2017 against Francisco Vargas, and had defended it multiple times over the course of the past, 3 years or so. And then you had Oscar Valdez coming in there, 28-0. Was the WBO featherweight champion, but moved up to super featherweight to eventually get himself this shot at a world title at super featherweight, going up against Miguel Berchelt. Yeah, he did, win the WBO featherweight championship back in 2016 and had defended it pretty much almost as many times as, Berchelt had defended that WBC super featherweight title. But he hadn't really had, that statement type of fight or that high profile fight in the featherweight division. We're probably going to be talking about, the, a little bit of the ordeal that went down at featherweight, you know what I'm saying, before Oscar Valdez moved up. We're going to get at that here in a little bit. But, on the flip side, you also got people that were building up this particular fight. It was supposed to happen last year before the whole thing with the COVID. They tried to set it up for, December, but that couldn't happen due to I think it was, Berchelt there with the COVID. But then once Berchelt kind of like recovered from all that, then they rescheduled the bout for February 20th. And, it was a highly anticipated bout. Both of these fighters, with a Mexican background, Berchelt residing in Mexico, Valdez, born in the Sonora area of Mexico and now residing in California. He was kind of like being regarded as the underdog in this particular bout against Miguel Berchelt. Like Berchelt had the professional experience and all of that. He's had that skill about, eventually breaking down his opponents there in the super featherweight division before getting them, stopped or, having a clear decision win. We had his performances against the likes of Miguel Roman. Like I said, he won the title against Francisco Vargas and then had a rematch against Francisco Vargas. And in that rematch, he beat Francisco Vargas pretty much even worse than the first fight. I felt like. So he had all the momentum. People regarded, Miguel Berchelt as the, top guy in the super featherweight division. And so, Valdez was coming in there as a, pretty sizable underdog, so to speak. He was coming in there as an underdog. And people felt like he wouldn't be able to pull it out, myself included. I'm going to say that straight up, myself included, right? But, when this fight, he went in there with a chip on his shoulder. He went in there looking like he, was having something to prove. And so he just wanted to get right at Miguel Berchelt. And, with him, basically with him doing that, we saw him with the fast start in the first round. He was really trying to get to Berchelt with the power shots in the first round. Not really landing things, but kind of like sending a message that, hey, I could bang too. I mean, yeah, I know that you're the WBC super featherweight champion and you've had all these stringing victories and things like that. And you've been able to overwhelm your opponents, but I'm here to, let you know that I'm here to bang. I'm here to, rock with you if I need to rock with you, And so we did that in the first round, but it kind of like seemed that it was a little bit of, as it was said, in the commentary, some nervous energy, in that first round. So, while he was, very aggressive in that particular first round, wasn't necessarily accurate in that instance. But the next round, he started to get his composure, calm himself down and be focused a little bit more. And then you started to see, the difference in the overall skill set from Oscar Valdez in comparison to Miguel Berchelt. Miguel Berchelt, even though he's like a pressure fighter, that's basically, yeah, I know you have that little moniker about Mexican fighters, come forward style, all action. And sometimes that could be a critique of some Mexican fighters. It could be all action, but when it comes to the defensive department, you don't really hear much about that unless if you talk about the likes of, like say, I would say one of my favorite fighters, out there, man, and Juan Manuel Marquez, one of the best kind of punches in the game ever to me. Juan Manuel Marquez, but you don't, see him being put up there in the likes of the Eric Moraleses, the Marco Antonio Barreras, and Julio Cesar Chavez's. But like I said, with Berchelt is that, like I said, the all action type of fighter, and with him being that all action fighter, you do leave yourself to openings. And within that second round, you started to see Berchelt having himself open, not being very, I would say assertive in his come forward style. He would come forward, but he would come forward with with a guard, with not basically with high guard. And what Oscar Valdez did was he just said, you know what? I'm going to come in there and I'm going to start boxing on my back foot. And I'm going to just hit him with the jab, hit him with the jab, hit him with the jab, bam, 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 bam. And then that jab opened up things for him to land in the body a couple of times. And then he became more successful with the left hook. The left hook starting to land. And yeah, it looked like, Berchelt was game, for some times. And he was, getting inside once he had, Oscar Valdez back to the ropes. He was, eventually getting some success on Valdez, being able to score upstairs and land to the body. But Oscar Valdez was able to, keep up with him and be game. And, I would say, kind of, like I said at the beginning, he sent that message like, I'm here to stand and fight with you if need be. Like, whatever you throw, I'm going to be able to take it, but I'm going to come right back at you. And once he had established that, then that was kind of the MO for this particular fight. And so we get into that fourth round. And like I said, once Oscar Valdez was successful with that left hook, and he knew that it was available to him, even though he could be backed up to the ropes, he could come with that left hook. And once he landed that left hook to the temple of Miguel Berchelt, that took down the equilibrium of Berchelt. And we saw what happened. A flurry of punches had Berchelt flustered, but his legs were basically gone from that, from that shot that he took, So that led to the technical knockdown in the fourth round as Berchelt fell to the ropes. The ropes saved him from landing on the canvas. So the referee, I think it was Russell Moore, stepped in and gave the standing 8 count there. You know what I'm saying? Real quick, actually, we got some things going on in this live right now. Shout out to Easy Life, man, catching it live right now. He has that message out there in reference to Oscar Valdez, and I will talk about that particular topic here later on as I go through the summary of this fight with Berchelt and Valdez. So shout out to Easy Life on the live right now. You know what I'm saying? Checking us out. So you had that in the fourth round, and once Berchelt legs got shook up, with that left hook in the fourth round, that was basically it for the kid. I'm sorry, that was basically it for the kid. It took him a couple of rounds to get his bearings back, and I think that was due to Oscar Valdez, I think, being a little bit over anxious with his power shots. It kind of like seemed like he was going back to what he was doing in round one, which was single shots, not really using the jab, going for the hook, and just doing the hook, just looking for that shot, that hook, instead of setting up that shot. But Berchelt, even with his pressure, didn't really have much behind him. Like I said, once his legs were gone, he really couldn't do what he needed to do. Yes, he was coming forward, but the punches, you could see from that fourth round on, it looked like Berchelt was throwing arm punches. Like he was just, and it wasn't with any conviction, not with any purpose, wasn't sharp or anything like that. And so with that being said, even though he was, aggressive, he was landing a few times, like I said, from fifth and sixth round and all of that, it didn't really have it to the point where it would be able to turn the tide on Oscar Valdez. So you get into that seventh and eighth round, and Valdez started to, get himself back, boxing off his back foot, measuring Miguel Berchelt. And with Berchelt just being he was just standing right there. There really isn't, much head movement with Miguel Berchelt. There really isn't that much defense going on with Miguel Berchelt. So if you're able to, kind of catch them and time them right, then you're going to be able to land with some success, some very, very good success, I would say, very good success against them. You know what I mean? So what you could basically do is once you time them, you'll be able to get at them. And once you get at them, you can break them down. And that's what Oscar Valdez did, starting in that 7th and 8th round. And I kind of like said during the fight that, even though Oscar Valdez was, kind of like going for that left hook, you know what I mean? He was going for that left hook. And if he kind of came in there with the uppercut, that it would really, really pause Miguel Berchelt in his tracks. We didn't see that uppercut really until round 9. I think that was, around that 1 minute point in round 9 where you saw, Oscar Valdez putting his combinations together, and he was able to get in there, and he had that uppercut. He went in with the uppercut. It wasn't a left uppercut. It was a right uppercut. And he got in there with the right uppercut, left hand, right hand, bim, bim, bim. Pit Berchelt down to the canvas once again in round 9. And Berchelt was able to get up again, but Berchelt was really spent from that time period up. And he got, he was out there for round 10, and it just seemed like he was just, out there, weak legs, weak arms, throwing arm punches and stuff like that. And you had it in round 10. It was about like a minute left to go in round 10. Valdez was still doing his thing, throwing a jab, fighting off his back foot. And there was like one time he backed up into Berchelt's corner and slipped and fell. But he was able to get up, and he still was okay and everything like that. But you seen that Berchelt was spent, and that, a lot of the punches that he was throwing just didn't have much effect on it. And you seen that thing for the 10 seconds is going, and Valdez backed up. Berchelt threw, like I said, he threw like a weak 1-2. Both of them missed. And then Valdez came with that left hook, and blah, it just, it was night, man. It was night. And, that was almost, like the thing where Berchelt got knocked out, in this fight last year. And, it was like the light shut off for Miguel Berchelt once he got hit with that. And I know that some people kind of like felt that was almost like how Manny Pacquiao got caught with that counter right hand, or he had that counter right hand by, Juan Manuel Marquez. But, that was pretty much a complete performance capped off by an emphatic knockout of Miguel Berchelt. So Oscar Valdez is now the new WBC super featherweight champion. And he is still undefeated. He is now 29-0. Want to get someone here to, join in, see if he could get on this to talk about the Oscar Valdez victory over Miguel Berchelt. If he wants to jump in, it should be MG joining us here, man. So if you want to jump in and talk about Oscar Valdez's performance, come on right in.
What's going on, Jay? This is Mike. How you doing?
Yo, what up, Mike?
Not much, man. Just chilling. Yep. I thought the performance was. I wouldn't have thought that the fight would have gone like this. I definitely expected to be a man versus a teenager or growing man. I was gonna say against a boy, but from how I remember Berchelt fighting, he fight like a man who has faced poverty and wants to exert himself because the alternative is, him remembering poverty. That's just what I get from him fighting. He fight like he has a reason to fight.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say he fought like that yesterday. He looked very subdued. If you
Yeah.
I mean, you could say it's what's the name being with Reynoso? Obviously, Reynoso is bringing out a warrior's mentality, which is led by Canelo.
Mm-hmm.
And that speaks for a lot. Like these fighters that you hear on their second fight or so with Reynoso, you see a different spark in them. You see a certain edge. They may be limited. Some of them may be limited in whatever they're limited in, but you can at least see the edge. You can see that I'm that dude because I've worked to be that dude,
Yeah.
mentality. And Berchelt, he didn't have that same I fought through everything to get here and this is how I show it. It just was like it's like he wanted to cruise the first few rounds and what's the main guy name? I forgot his name.
Berchelt.
The other guy, the main
Valdez.
Valdez. Valdez was like, yeah, I'm gonna win this fight. And Berchelt was just like, let me feel it out. And then he got caught with something and never recovered. But what I will say, that round where he got hit by all them shots and he didn't fall until the end of the round, this guy has to have extremely good wind because if you're, I ain't gonna say he was concussed, but if you are buzzed and your balance is off and everything else is off and you still firing them circuits to make sure that you stand up, which goes to endurance, which goes to balance, which goes to physical fitness. The man is pretty fit for him to to endure through that. Like that even speaks to his will, but he just didn't appear that he came there to win per se.
I find that interesting too because going into this particular fight, he had the thing where he did deal with the episode of COVID, but that's almost similar to one other guy that I'll mention later on who had to fight last night, and that's Otto Wallin. Before his fight against Travis Kaufman, he had to deal with the battle with COVID-19, but he was able to recover, get himself going, get back into full strength, and be able to fight and win against Travis Kaufman. But here with Miguel Berchelt, even though it seemed like he was all good and he was feeling fine and he was smiling and this and that, like his demeanor just didn't seem like he was fully on the offense or fully on his game. And even though I kind of like feel like he has these defensive his efforts on offense are like something to be desired sometimes, in this particular fight. And, even though like you had some things where, I would say he may have had some issues, so to speak, with his offensive game plan. But outside of that, I kind of like feel like, he wasn't completely there.
So you telling me Berchelt had COVID before this?
Yeah, that's how, because remember, this fight was originally scheduled for, I think it was December 12th or something like that. Because it was originally scheduled for around that date range, but it had to be pushed back. December 12th. It had to be pushed back because Miguel Berchelt had COVID. And because of that, that's why you had, Shakur Stevenson fighting Toka Khan Clary on that fight date on ESPN. So it was supposed to be December 12th, and then it got pushed back. So that's what ended up happening for this fight. And so they had pushed it back, then they had the new date, and they prepared for the new date. And, both sides said that, hey, I was, prepared and everything like that, but it just looked like Oscar Valdez had put everything together and said, yo, I have something to prove. I'm gonna send you a message from round one, and you're gonna have to adjust to me. I ain't gonna adjust to you. You're gonna have to adjust to me.
So how long ago did he have? You said in December. That's when he had COVID in December.
Yeah, it was like early December. When that basically happened.
Yeah, I ain't trying to make excuses, but the guy who I'm used to seeing, that wasn't the same guy. It's a different guy.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like the guy that beat Francisco Vargas in the rematch. Like beat Francisco Vargas in the rematch. That was probably the best. That was probably his best performance that he's had in his career in that rematch against Francisco Vargas. I did not see that, out of Miguel Berchelt. So I really don't know. I feel like the thing it was kind of like partly on Berchelt, not necessarily being all there, but like I got to give credit to Oscar Valdez on this one because he pretty much fought like a great fight there against Miguel Berchelt. I want to add in another contributor here to the Boxing Source. Let's see. This should be Terrell from Temple.
What's up, guys? What's up, Mad Mike? What's up, Jay? What's going on?
What's going on?
This is TTP in the building. What's happening, yo?
Yo, everything good, man. Just glad to just finally get a chance to call in and listen and digest some good boxing and everything. So just crazy. You really miss it when you really can't just be in the middle of everything. You really miss it. You really do,
Yeah, man. And we had like a lot of action going down, last night. So, we're talking about this whole thing here with Berchelt and Valdez, man. And, Mike said it, even though Valdez did have a, very good performance and Valdez kind of like rated himself at like a B or a, B minus, like Berchelt didn't really seem all there to some people. What did you feel about that?
Well, I didn't get to watch the fight in its entirety. I didn't really get to catch much boxing at all this weekend due to work commitments, or whatever. But I mean, the main thing I think, like a lot of us would share the same opinion. We're not only are we surprised that Valdez won, but how he won. I mean, we got Berchelt coming in with a 7-year streak of knockouts or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And as when we saw both these guys fought last year, we know in Berchelt's last fight, he did what he had to do, got the knockout, looked impressive, looked strong, and really from that point, I was just thinking probably, so you know what, I don't know who's going to beat this guy because this guy's just too strong for this weight class. He just got good size and just his strength alone is just great for the weight class, and he just been running over people. And we know from Valdez's last fight, when we all talked about on this show, he didn't look good at all. He didn't. And he's an undefeated fighter. What is it? Whatever amount of KOs, 20 KOs, whatever he has, is a high amount of KOs in comparison to his record. But that last fight did not lend to that at all. And we know going into this fight with Berchelt, as we talked about on the show, we're like, Valdez gonna go in there and get ran over. And even boxing Twitter to a degree said the same thing. They were just wondering on what round it's going to take for Berchelt to secure the knockout. But once again, this is why we watch each and every fight, because there's always a different result can come out other than what you think. You see what I'm saying? So big shout out to his coach for him following the game plan. And then from that point, I tell you what, for Berchelt, I can guarantee you to a degree that was something he would never admit, that he was rattled from that first knockdown. Basically, what in the hell is going on? I was supposed to be one doing a knockdown, not getting knocked down. You know what I'm saying? And from that point, he got rattled, got knocked down again and again from that point. And then from that last round, the 10th round, he started to get wild and a bit desperate because he had that. And right prior to that knockout punch that Valdez delivered with that left hook, you saw Berchelt actually left his feet lunging forward.
Mm-hmm.
Left him totally exposed for that knockout punch. And as a fighter, especially as a veteran fighter, as a championship belt holder, you're supposed to hold to your fundamentals no matter what. You know what I'm saying? So But like he left his feet, lunged on that punch, and got caught and got dropped and face first. And I was like, wow, I was totally surprised. And like, that's what we talked about on the show many times, but we all expected for Berchelt to take that fight. But obviously, we have a totally different result here today.
Yeah, we do. And, it's basically an upset, for, according to many, like I said, it was like around a 3-1 or 4-1 favorite over Oscar Valdez. And, leading into this particular bout, Valdez was talking about, all of these legends, Mexican legends, the Barreras, the Moraleses, the Julio Cesar Chavez's, the Mexican legends, and pretty much all of them picked against Oscar Valdez. Leading into the bout, you had Shakur Stevenson talking about the fight, and he was picking Miguel Berchelt, and so with Valdez getting his victory, it was almost like a sign of validation right there. I'm going to see if I could, get in this clip through, the post-fight, immediately after the fight in his victory, where he was talking to Bernardo Osuna, and he was talking about all of those fighters that were down him. So let me see if I could strike that up here for a little bit here. So let me see if I could jump this off and see how this will go.
Said against the most feared puncher at 130 pounds. A team. It's a lot of teamwork. A lot of times space are this. I'm still focusing. A lot of distractions out there. Like I said, the focus was always trying to look for your dreams. But when it's in your character,
Yeah. So I don't know if y'all were hearing it there, but he, Valdez basically was talking about, proving people wrong. All of those who picked against him, all of his peers that picked against him, the boxing analysts that picked against him. And like I said at the beginning of this podcast here, man, I said, hey, man, I was leaning towards Berchelt myself, because this was kind of like the, whole thing with, the bigger man against the smaller man. The guy that's been established at 130 pounds against, the guy that had his extensive career at 126 pounds. And so, I thought it would be the, bigger skilled guy against the littlest, smaller skilled guy, and the bigger skilled guy would win. But, he fought the perfect game plan, made the adjustments when he needed to, and, ended up getting that win. And so, he is now the WBC super featherweight champion. He's probably going to be rated as the top super featherweight, or top guy in the division. And there's going to be targets after him there. So that's what we got, right now. Anybody got any responses to him talking about, the doubters being against him, and, that he basically said that, it's the best thing to prove people wrong, prove the doubters wrong, or as we say in modern day, the haters. Prove the haters wrong, man.
I mean, just what you said though is, I mean, like I said, I mean, it's kind of wrong to say, well, we're going to base what you're going to do in the fight versus Berchelt versus your last performance, but it's kind of what we did, and it's kind of what everyone did. You see what I'm saying? And it's kind of funny. Valdez is an undefeated fighter with a large amount of KOs on his record, you know, and when you closely look at his record, a lot of those knockouts came late in within the career. You see what I'm saying? A lot of times you have a fighter would have a lot of front loaded KOs early on with soft opposition. Not the case for Valdez. Not the case for him. This guy has a large amount of KOs, so you have to respect that. And last week when I was kind of looking at this fight, I was going to say this is your classic boxer versus puncher matchup. Once again, you can't say that with the amount of KOs that Valdez has. This guy does have power, and once again, a lot of KOs are late within this record. So you can't say he's just a boxer. But you know this. I mean, a lot of times people just will go with that eye test, and like I said, Berchelt is a strong guy, so naturally a lot of people are going to pile on with that opinion, and go with that and run with that, and that's certainly what a lot of us did. And that's what I did. But like I said, just he definitely proved us wrong, and now he's definitely the top guy at super featherweight. So all roads basically lead through him. Hopefully we can get some good matchups. And once again, this is the first quarter of this year, right? At this point, so this is February. So hopefully we can get him in the ring again once or twice this year. Maybe in midsummer against maybe possibly a mandatory, something like that, and then maybe in the last quarter, hopefully make a big build up with Shakur Stevenson, something like that. That would certainly be a great fight to see.
Yeah, he did talk about, potentially fighting Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson did mention, going after Oscar Valdez. And, that is one of the things that one person, interacting in the live chat right now, person said that Valdez should fight Stevenson. And I'm like, yeah, he should fight Stevenson. If y'all remember, Oscar Valdez was the WBO featherweight champion for a while. And Shakur Stevenson was coming up in the featherweight division. And he ended up being the WBO mandatory challenger. And when he was the WBO mandatory challenger, he wanted to have that fight with Oscar Valdez. Valdez instead chose to move up to super featherweight, which allowed him the shot to go after Miguel Berchelt. Even though he was a WBO champion and he could have been the mandatory in the WBO, he said, hey, I want to go after Miguel Berchelt. So he had those fights at super featherweight to prepare himself for Miguel Berchelt. So Stevenson, he ends up getting a fight against Joey Gonzalez for the vacant WBO title, wins that WBO title at featherweight. Could have had his first defense against Miguel Mariaga over in Madison Square Garden. But we all know what happened. That was basically the first days of the lockdown and all that type shit. So we didn't have that fight. And as a result, Shakur Stevenson never defended that WBO title. And so he said that he was going to commit himself to moving up to super featherweight. And before he had his fight with Toka Khan Clary last December, he was looking to fight the winner of Jermaine Herring against Carl Frampton, but we all know now what the shenanigans have been in trying to finalize that particular fight. And that fight right now is delayed for another month. Another month. Not a few weeks, not a couple weeks, but another month after being pushed back since last year, So now Shakur Stevenson is kind of like deciding, you know what? I'm not going to wait for that particular fight to happen. I'm going to go after the winner of Berchelt versus Valdez. And so now that's what you have. You have him saying that, hey, let's see if I can go after Oscar Valdez. I've been waiting for this fight for a while now because he was supposed to fight me for that WBO featherweight title. So now let's see what's up. And you know what? this is probably even better for Stevenson because Shakur Stevenson kind of like says that, hey, I'm really the guy. All of these young guys that are being talked about, and I'm not including it in the conversation. Well, part of the reason why he's not included in the conversation is because he hasn't necessarily had that showcase fight or been in the limelight or, been featured like many of those other guys have. Lopez has had his. Garcia just had his with Luke Campbell. Tank Davis had his pay-per-view with, Leo Santa Cruz. Devin Haney still is yet to have his, moment, but that's about to come. But with Stevenson, he hasn't really had that yet. And so having that fight against Valdez would kind of put him in the spotlight if he was able to defeat Oscar Valdez right there. So that's what you got reference to that potential matchup that could come down the pipe later this year. And yeah, I would definitely be, down with all that.
And it would definitely be an easy fight to make as we see that. And just when you look at this, Shakur Stevenson last fought in December of last year. So Valdez coming off this win in February, basically March at this point.
Mm-hmm.
We expect him to take a rest for at least a couple months. Stevenson can come back and have a light touch about in probably around March, April. If they wanted to, like I said, hell, if they really wanted to, they can get it on in the summer. They really get on in the summer, unless Valdez's mandatories due. I'm not sure when its mandatories due, but it could be early summer or like I said later into the year. But it's definitely a doable fight. No cross the street stuff with promotional riffs coming up to prevent the fight from happening. But like I said, just that's a great point where you made. Stevenson has not had that marquee fight as of yet in regards to this this younger generation of fighters that's out now that are given a lot of credit, but not necessarily have earned that those stripes in the ring against the top opposition. So that's a great point you made with that.
Yeah, and I'm saying like you said, it could be set up for the summer, and that would be a big lead up to having this a fight of that caliber. And summer would give most fans open time to get caught up with what both of these fighters have done. But right now, Oscar Valdez has all the momentum in the world right now, and like I said, even though he did fight and beat the top guy rated in the super featherweight division, look at the status of the super featherweight division right now. You had Jojo Diaz that unprofessionally weighed in over the limit and lost the IBF title. You have, our guy, Jamel Herring. He's trying to have that, that fight. He's trying to have that fight against Carl Frampton, and it was like going, week after week after week. He goes over to Colorado Springs. He's training with all of those guys and the coach Bomac and all them. And there's no ticket. There's no update on if the fight's going to happen. And they didn't really get anything until last weekend saying that, so because, Top Rank ain't footing the bill for this fight, and it has to go through Frank Warren and Queensbury and MTK. Now they're like, we don't necessarily have the funds right now, so we got to delay it for another month. What? So you got all that going on, and you do also have, and some people kind of brought this up too, one guy that still says that he's going to campaign at 130 pounds. He is the WBA super champion, Gervonta Tank Davis, and so maybe you could have an outside shot, and I don't think it's really going to happen, but you could have an outside shot of Oscar Valdez versus Gervonta Tank Davis in a unification bout at super featherweight. That is one thing that some people may not have thought of happening because, hey, Oscar Valdez came into the fight against Miguel Berchelt as an underdog. But now that he's had this win, he had an emphatic knockout win, he's going to have the momentum and his buzz gaining and gaining and gaining, that he could be a potential opponent for Tank Davis because, hey, anybody, I know that he's, injured, but before he even got injured, who was Tank Davis going to fight? Nobody knew. Nobody knew who was going to be set up as his opponent. So, hey, if it's not Valdez versus Stevenson, there may be a small chance that it could be Valdez versus Gervonta Tank Davis at super featherweight there. So any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I tell you what, do me a favor. Why is Tank still fighting at entertaining fighting at 130 when this guy's is a champion it's at lightweight? We know that, and then there's so many matchups that I won't say so many, but there's primetime matchups available for him at 135. Now, is it just because he can? It just gives him more options to say at 130? Is that it? I mean, like I said, even now with Valdez winning his fight, and like you just stated right there, with the possibility of Tank coming back down to 130 and fighting Valdez. But I mean, it's like I'm kind of a bit confused. Like, are you going to be a 130 pounder or 135 pounder? But like I said, if you just tell me you just want to leave your options open and be a champion in each division, of course that gives you options. But it's kind of like commit to one class and just do it. That's typically what we see.
Yeah.
I tell you, when we look at someone like Canelo, champion at 160, held the belt hostage, went up to 175, jumped down to 168. I mean, I kind of get it. I guess it gives you so many options because so many people don't have it like that. But I guess I kind of see what Tank's doing. Like I said, because for me, the opportunity to fight Leo Santa Cruz last year, we know that was an opportunity to grab a belt and obviously to be on pay-per-view. We know that. I understand that boxing is a business, as we always say. But I didn't think there would be matchups, viable matches for him to remain at 130. I thought he'd just go back to 135 and concentrate on trying to become the man up there somehow.
Yeah, I think there's like a couple more options that are there at 130. For Gervonta Davis, you do have. I don't know if he'll go ahead and have this fight, but maybe it'll be, Rolly Romero, everybody's favorite fighter, the interim WBA champion at lightweight, Rolly Romero. But outside of that, a lot of people just want to tie him up to, those other, young guys, the Devin Haney's. Actually, they don't really talk about Tank Davis against Devin Haney either. But they do talk about him potentially fighting Lomachenko or Teofimo Lopez, or, of course, Ryan Garcia, which they tried to say that, we're going to have this fight going to happen. But ain't nothing shaking with that, right? So what I say is this. With Tank Davis, once he gets himself healed with this injury and everything like that, then Leonard Ellaby and Floyd Mayweather can find out what the direction is for Tank Davis, if they're going to have him in another pay-per-view, and just have him be in a good fight. Because if it's going to be pay-per-view, they're going to have a name tied to it in order for it to be, successful enough for them to warrant it being a pay-per-view event. So if and you're gonna have to find another option. But with Floyd, he may be trying to, he may be trying to say, listen, Gervonta Davis, he's a great fighter, hell of a fighter. But you got guys like, Ryan Garcia talking all this trash, and he ain't really done nothing, even though he beat Luke Campbell. But Luke Campbell, I don't think he's that good. Ryan Garcia needs to go ahead and fight some other guys before he could go up against my guy, Gervonta Tank Davis. Tank Davis is a superstar. He's the man. He's the shining star in this division. And you're gonna see Tank once he gets off his injury, he gonna knock everybody out. I don't know. Maybe he'll say something like that or whatever it is, but you know, I just feel like Tank Davis, at this particular point, they're still trying to figure out what his next option is going to be, because when they did the fight with Leo Santa Cruz, like everybody saw that coming, okay, and they basically went off the blueprint of what Floyd Mayweather was doing. Like his opponents, like the most successful or the fights that got the most interest were against opponents, that had a Mexican background or anything like that. If it was like somebody else, it really didn't get that much play. So that's why he ended up fighting like Marcos Maidana, from Argentina, or Robert Guerrero, Canelo Alvarez, and that type of thing. So maybe they're trying to do that same thing here with Gervonta Tank Davis. But right now, I want to add in another person onto this thing before we go into our first little break. You know him. I know him. He is the president of the Deontay Wilder fan club and the latest victim of dry snitching on social media. That's right. We got to stop this dry snitching on social media, folks. Here he is, Mr. Matthew Brown.
AKA apparently the Black Donald Trump, because I'm banned from Facebook.
Yeah, the Black Donald Trump.
This is ridiculous. Listen, I'm pissed off. And they made me send my ID to them just for them to reject my account.
Yeah, that's it.
How you get banned from Facebook?
Like I said, dry snitching, man.
How you get banned from Facebook?
Somebody reported me as scam, I guess, because we were having a disagreement over Artur Beterbiev and Canelo, because Beterbiev got caught out there rejecting a Canelo fight.
We will talk about that. We will talk about that.
I guess I upset the crackers, and the crackers reported me as spam, and my Facebook account has been permanently banned. They blocked my phone number. It's over for me, man. They blocked my email, all that good stuff, man.
So you can't go and like show them that it's not spam or whatever?
It's been deactivated. I can't do anything. The only thing they let me do was to download my photos and videos, and they said goodbye.
Well, Matt, that's why everybody else make new profiles.
Hey, look. I ain't gonna say it, but he might have to be on that Tray 5 and get that burner joint. But we'll see.
I'm just gonna move my game to Twitter and possibly YouTube. I'm done with Facebook.
Over to Twitter. Hopefully you don't end up like the young lady and how many accounts?
No. See, because here's the thing about Twitter. Twitter only bans you when you're using foul language and harassing and threatening and stuff like that. I've never, and anyone that's ever debated me in boxing know that I don't talk like that. I never talk like that. But Facebook, all you gotta do is report somebody and they get rid of you. So it is what it is. Twitter is not the same.
So Matt, there's no appeal thing that you can do. I'm almost positive.
I did appeal. I said
you gotta understand. Once Facebook removes you, I'm talking about suspends or removes your account, it's nearly impossible to get that joint back. Nearly impossible. It's impossible if you even forget like your password or something, if
Yep.
you don't know like your alternate like email or
They
your
won't ever
phone
talk to you.
number, then they ain't gonna help you. It's a wrap. So
So you telling me, Matt, it's a problem for you to make a new profile and bring hell to them on a
Because
different profile?
Here's the thing. I don't have 50 million emails like a lot of.
Make another email, Matt. Stop
I've
complaining.
been
Make another
using
email.
the same email. Is that your face at AOL.com since I was in high school? Okay, I did not have the
AOL
time.
accounts.
That's a
Yeah,
real email.
I don't have the time or energy to make. If people don't want to listen, first of all, if these crackers don't want me around, I won't be around. I will not go where I'm tolerated. I want to go where I'm wanted, and Twitter is calling my name.
Man, I think you need to let your thoughts about it subside, and then make you a new account, then get back on Facebook.
But you know what really pissed me off? So these motherfuckers know they reported me, right? But then after they got my account banned, they made it seem like I ran off of Facebook and they chased me off of Facebook. Y'all motherfuckers know y'all reported me. Stop playing stupid. You
Yeah.
think I'm gonna deactivate my own Facebook account over Arda Better BF of all fucking people? Nobody gives a shit about him. Like what are we talking about here?
Well,
So, you know,
like
these crackers knew what they were doing, so it's all good. They out there celebrating in Ned's Boxing Emporium. I see they made a couple posts about me and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, Matt's off Facebook. Ha 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 ha. It's all good, man. Because guess what? If I do come back, I'm reporting all you motherfuckers. I'm putting cases on all of you.
Cases on all you. Yo.
Don't even use the curse word around me because I will report you.
That's the spirit, man. I don't want to hear you talking about you going just go to another platform, make your ass another email, and make that shit happen, and then let them know that you have another profile. But obviously stay away from them. Do what you need to do to make sure this profile don't get like deleted. But
yeah,
So,
but that kind of like goes into the whole thing there with boxing fans sometimes, man, and folks got to be careful about it,
because
like,
these boxing fans don't understand that this is just a little bubble. The general public doesn't give a shit. Why do you care so much that you take this personally? It's boxing. It's okay.
Is boxing, but they kind of like took advantage of the whole thing because for those that don't know, a few weeks ago, a group that me and Matt have been involved with for a long time eventually got dropped off Facebook.
Yep, 200,000 members gone.
The group that you started, the boxing whatever updates,
gone. Reported.
How they delete that?
Facebook.
But I thought most of the interaction that you had with people was positive interaction on that. Every time I see you talk to people.
Yeah, but when you talk about social media now, it has become sissified, pussified, and wussified. Straight up.
You got canceled, man.
And you gotta understand, like any type of comment that, even if we're talking about boxing, it's counted as a form of violence. So if you have terms that relate to violence, Facebook will be on it. And that's basically what happened with that type of activity. Facebook said, you know what, we can't have this quote unquote language on our platform. So we're gonna real quick. But let's take a quick break here. It's gonna be about like 5 seconds. So let's do it. Okay, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, and this is 5. All right. Now let's see if we could just get back at it here once again. And actually, I'm gonna see about the thing. I think I had someone that was gonna be so we gonna see how this jump off. So all right, we back here once again, doing this thing, man. And yeah, I wanted to get your comments on the Berchelt-Valdez fight here real quick. Hey, man, you still on this joint?
Yeah, I'm here. I just wanted to mute my mic because I heard some noise in the background. I wanted to make sure it wasn't me.
Nah, I think it's I think it's feedback from Terrell.
Okay.
So yeah, go ahead.
Well, we all saw Berchelt got sent to hell.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But
Matt, can you stop using that language? You're making me you're upsetting me. You're upsetting me.
Lock
he's
him.
gonna
Watch out, you might get reported.
All these years you've been talking shit to me, I might report your ass. So you better watch your mouth.
But the funny thing about it is Berchelt was never at any point in that fight. Valdez beat his ass from round 1 all the way up to the end. And it's funny because nobody was really giving Valdez a chance. But for some reason, I just woke up, I was like, are we sure Valdez can't beat Berchelt? Like, are we really sure? Because if you think about it, when was the last time Berchelt fought somebody worth a damn? He's been following since going to the top ranked model of fighting these guys who are just as slow as him, not as skilled, and they're brawlers. And you saw the speed advantage. Like literally, Berchelt was punching air. Valdez was ducking under punches. He was pivoting, cracking him with the left. He was beating his ass the whole night. And I'm happy for him because I like the underdog,
Yeah.
So it was good to see him get that title, and now it's time to feed him to one of the young boys, either Tank or they talk about Shakur.
Yeah.
I think Valdez could beat Shakur Stevenson. So we'll see.
Yeah, and that kind of goes into some of the things that I've heard about Shakur Stevenson in the gyms. But we got the callers. We calling on the lines here. 267 is on here with us. What's happening?
I don't think 267 is with us.
Oh, he's on through the voice, man. I didn't think I thought this thing would have been able to tie into this shit. Oh shit.
Oh, he's talking right now? Because I can't hear anyone talking.
I bet. Yeah, I'll put the link on there. Yeah, that's Jay was on that other line, so I was gonna, go ahead and tie that shit in, but yeah, he ain't able to, get on that deal.
It's a work in progress.
With us. Yeah, it's work in progress. We working out here. We working because, like I said, yo, I'm gonna say it right now. Blog Talk on that bullshit. I said it. Blog Talk is on that bullshit. Y'all ain't really about that life. Y'all want to have people paying all this goddamn money, yet you still want to put in all your advertising and all that type of shit on there.
If I pay money, I'm not having nobody advertising my shit unless I'm getting paid for it.
And don't put in the work to try to expand the podcast or the audience that buy into your product. So I ain't investing in that thing no more. So now we got our guy in here, straight out of Philly. Where's him? Mr. Jamil, what's going on?
like I said earlier, first off, free my nigga Matthew Brown. He's doing stretch. You know what I'm saying? My man will be home soon. Free
Wow,
help.
they gave me life.
They gave me life?
Yo, we got way too many Tekashi 6ix9ine around here, man. Dog, it's super soft around these streets.
And the worst part about it, Jamil, is he said he ain't trying to come back with a different account. I think you need to punch him in the chest and tell him to change his attitude, though.
Yo, I told him it's time for you to come on to YouTube. You know what I'm saying? You tried the Facebook thing out. It didn't work. Come on to YouTube, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. That's what's going to happen, yo. Hey, we got another one in the team here. Mr. Jalek on the podcast, man, joining us, man. What's shaking?
Shout out to the boxing source. Shout out to everybody on the panel. What's popping?
Shakur Stevenson, older brother. Jaleel.
Oh, that's crazy.
Hey, yo, Will, tell them why you mad. I know them toes is expensive, man. I think you got at them toes, man. I get it, bro. Get it easy, bro.
That's the dream Haney, man. That's the phenom.
I like Haney, though. I like Haney. I think Haney can beat all the guys at 135, actually.
He can beat all the guys at 130 too.
Oh yeah, he'll beat yeah, I can definitely see that too. Well, 140, I don't know if he's gonna beat Josh Taylor, but I think he can beat Ramirez. Josh Taylor is different.
Yeah, I feel you, but yeah, we on this thing for still on the thing for Valdez and Berchelt with Valdez's performance. He was out there with Eddie Reynoso with another coaching masterpiece. He gave Valdez gave credit to Reynoso, talking about, he goes through all those repetitions, going through the basics a whole lot of times in the gym, but once it all comes together, then you see the final, the finished product out there in the ring. So that's what we had against Miguel Berchelt. And we got like a few comments around there. Gotta get, you, Jamil, and then we're going to go to Jim on the reactions too. About this win over Berchelt. What's happening?
Wait, who's up? Me or Lee?
No, you can go.
Oh, you are, Jamil.
It's just hard to hear.
All right. Yeah, all right. So, first, let's acknowledge that a couple years back, I think after the Lara fight, people wanted Canelo to fire Eddie Reynoso. Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
He needed an A-level trainer. Eddie Reynoso wasn't that. Fast forward a couple years later, now he's looked at as maybe the top trainer in boxing. Shouts out to Canelo for being loyal and staying with his guys. That's first. Secondly, dude's a hell of a coach, man, because there was a period in that fight where Oscar was panicking. He had hurt Berchelt. They didn't stop the fight, and now Berchelt was coming on. He was coming on like a madman. And you can see Oscar. He was panicking, and then it was like for like a round or two, he was panicking. Then comes back out and goes right back to the game plan. And that's a sign of good coaching. And we saw it with Ryan, getting his jaw jacked, falling and getting up. It ended up stopping Luke Campbell. So that's a sign of adjustments, even though I'm not sure if Oscar made more adjustments than Ryan, but it's a sign of a quality corner.
So what happened with Luis Neri?
To be honest with you, I think that Luis Neri isn't getting the proper attention. Eddie Reynoso got top tier talent.
Okay.
And Luis Neri, you know how, what is it? It's 4 or 5 guys ahead of Luis Neri.
Canelo, Ryan, Oscar,
Andy. Yeah, so he probably wants to be the number 1 guy, and I can't fault him for that. Actually, you know what you need. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, he got 6. He's starting to get He might.
I had the list.
He got Frank Sanchez. He got
Frank Sanchez. Yep.
But he also got Julio Cesar Martinez, which is one of my favorite fighters to watch at 112.
Yeah, JC Martinez. So we gonna have 2 fighters in there next week.
He about to if he get greedy, he gonna be like Robert Garcia and his guys. He gonna start taking. Yeah, he might want to chill out a little bit because that's starting to be too many people.
Well, I think it could work because he has Canelo. All these guys want to work together at the same time because they want to be around Canelo. If you notice, they're always in the gym together. And if they're following the Canelo no boxing, no life model, where Canelo is always in the gym, then these guys will always stay sharp, and it's not going to matter if it's training camp or not.
Yep. Like y'all see how I know that there are folks that are fans of a certain fighter by the name of Terrence Crawford. There's a few of those guys that are on that team with Bomac. And you have the Rob Branch, you have Jamel Herring, you have Steven Nelson, you have all of those guys that are under Bomac and Terrence Crawford gets involved with a lot of those fighters. So you're seeing the same thing here with Canelo Alvarez. I mean, you saw it a lot with Canelo and with Canelo and Ryan Garcia, and actually even beforehand, you kind of remember back in the thing for the rematch, before the rematch of Ruiz versus Joshua, Canelo was there with Andy Ruiz. So he could be, on his way to building himself to kind of helping these guys along too, to build themselves up. So I think that's the team that they're saying. I mean, even though you have the guy named Eddie Reynoso, on social media, what is the handle that Eddie Reynoso uses? What is the name on there?
Canelo team. Yep.
Exactly. So they're trying to build pretty much like a boxing empire with that. And Oscar Valdez is, included in that. And you see what happened in there. And, like y'all was saying, with Valdez in this fight against Berchelt, I felt like in that 5th and 6th round, he kind of went back to what he was doing in round 1, where it was kind of headhunting, instead of being patient, doing the same thing that he did in order to lead himself to that first knockdown in round 4. And then once he did that, that's how he started to put more of his punches together. And then he had that was a beautiful combination in round 9. Uppercut, left hand, right hand, boom. And then, like I said, still being patient and just wow at the end of round 10. And it was night for Miguel Berchelt right there. You know what I mean?
So to y'all's point, I could definitely see, especially from that last fight where I don't think he probably should have won. Wasn't that the fight that was a controversy between him and that other guy?
Lopez,
there you go. Mm-hmm. I questioned his win on that one. But if you see these guys coming out and fighting these opponents, you can definitely see the edge that they have, the same edge that Canelo has when he's in fights. I mean, obviously, the matchmakers for Canelo doesn't necessarily put him in a fight to where he doesn't have some advantage or some advantage that he can take advantage of. But in those fights, he definitely has this, like, even in the Gennady Golovkin too, he had this, like, aura about him that this is my ring and you will understand that. And so he's matched to have that, but it'd be interesting to see if he does fight somebody who is a bit more menacing. That will he have that same attitude?
Well,
what's that 175? What's the best 175 with them big hands, with the heavy hands?
Better be
the guy that turned down
which we will talk about here later. I can't wait.
Okay. Let me throw out one more point. Could it also be that Reynoso is feeding them half American beef and half Mexican beef?
All right.
Just a question.
You win. Okay.
I say this one was more impressive because Ryan Garcia was the favorite. Now the drama behind that was the fact that he got dropped and he like used the body punch and knocked him out. But this one here is even bigger because nobody had really given Oscar a chance based on his previous performances, and the homeboy is being a big puncher. But I predicted, I picked the Berchelt to win, but I tweeted, I said he gonna get dropped early or he gonna get buzzed because he like Ryan Garcia, Berchelt, he just keeps his face in the air, and he's already been knocked out before. It just was early in his career, but it's a good victory for Reynoso. Reynoso also works with his father Chepo, so it is like a team that he has. I guess his dad is getting it more on Eddie. So, but it is a team. It's good to see. You know what I mean? I'm happy for him. He is the front runner to probably. He shouldn't have won trainer there. I thought Derek James should have won it last year, but he is, especially if Ryan Garcia loses to if Ryan Garcia beat Tank, then it's gonna be hard to top it unless Earl Spence was to beat Crawford and Ugas. That's gonna be well, yeah.
Ryan not even gonna fight Tank, so you can just throw that out there.
I don't know. I think that's a better chance of happening than Earl versus Crawford this year.
Earl versus Crawford isn't going to happen necessarily this year, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
For me, that's signed, sealed, and delivered.
I think Tank versus Ryan Garcia is a bigger fight, actually, on paper as far as sales. It's just my opinion. I think it's a US pay-per-view in boxing.
Potentially.
Right? Yeah,
potentially.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the Canelo better be thing? Because I have a theory.
Oh man, I was gonna leave that for the last segment, but I don't think that some people want to talk about the other fight card.
I mean, we can talk about how trash Dominic Brazil is.
Oh,
I'm willing to talk about that.
Pretty disappointing.
Well, yeah, but let's terrible, and really bad. Kenny, look, Dominic Brazil is a terrible boxer. Let me tell you something, Kenny. But yeah. So hey, let's do it then. Let's go on this thing for that Broner-Santiago card. But let's get into this thing for Otto Wallin and Dominic Brazil. And leading into this thing, I kind of said, you know what? Here we go. We got two fighters. One fighter got one loss to Tyson Fury. The other fighter got two losses. One to Anthony Joshua, one to Deontay Wilder. But for those that know me and know my extended and admitted hatred for a fighter by the name of Gennady Golovkin, hey, at least I know with my bias, I could admit my own bias on podcasts. Some of these folks can't do that. So, with Gennady Golovkin, dang, somebody like snacking on some shit. I don't know what's going on. But with Gennady Golovkin,
that's me. It's a coffee cake.
Oh, okay, gotcha. With Gennady Golovkin, he got his trainer there, Abel Sanchez, or who I usually call Fable Sanchez. And if you've seen fighters that are under Abel Sanchez's tutelage, every time they're in a big or a high-profile fight, they always end up losing because their fighter never makes adjustments in their fight. Never. You could talk about last year when you had Cecilia Breakthroughs against Jessica McCaskill. I was like, oh, Abel Sanchez, she gonna lose. You could talk about all
you did say that. That's funny. You damn sure did say that.
all these other guys. And I saw that picture of Dominic Brazil with Breakthroughs and all of them over in Big Bear. I'm like, oh, listen, you gonna see Otto Wallin win this particular fight. And I'm sorry, Matt, I will actually say this on the podcast. You didn't necessarily see two big guys out there bumping me.
No, we didn't.
If there was anything bumping in this particular fight, it was Otto Wallin's left hand on Dominic Breazeale's face. That was it.
To be honest with you, they both look like shit to me. Dominic Breazeale was now I know my man Mike Grady loves to call Joe Joyce slugfist. Dominic Breazeale was the slowest fighter I have ever seen in my life yesterday. Like literally, Wallin was on the other side of the ring when Dominic Breazeale was starting his punch. It was like, what is going on here?
But man, let me say this. I think you are. I think you're taking away from Wallin's niftiness. I think Wallin would give a lot of people trouble in terms of his. Take this with a grain of salt, craftiness, because he fights like he doesn't fight like a heavyweight. He fights like Tyson Fury in a sense, to where he doesn't fight like
Mike.
He looks.
Hey, Mike. The problem is he ain't got no power.
He doesn't have any power, which is why that fight didn't get stopped. But let me say a jab at Matt. Matt, that's why you got put off Facebook, because you said something about bumping meat on Facebook. That's why you actually got put off. That's the last comment I remember from you, actually.
He got kicked out for explicit content on Facebook. Oh man.
I swear y'all.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
That was the most disheartening effort from any fighter that I have seen in a long time. And I was like, he made Otto Wallin, he at least, he's trying, he's doing his thing. He's trying to do his thing here in the heavyweight division. But listen, he made Otto Wallin look like Floyd Mayweather. Sometimes,
He really did.
Dude, I remember this is like round 4, man. Like Wallin was already landing stuff, and he was landing with that lead left hand. And there was like one time he was backing up to the ropes, and then he hit him with the lead left hand, and then ducked and moved over to the right. I was like, oh my god, this dude.
But what was crazy about it was in between rounds, fucking Abel Sanchez was telling Breazeale, hey, you're doing exactly what we want now. Just throw it here. All right, now we got him. Now he's getting tired. Now you're gonna get him out of there. I'm like, what the fuck are you watching, dude?
But he did get tired, though. He did get tired. What's the name?
What type of adjustment was out there for Abel Sanchez to give to Dominic Breazeale so that Breazeale could have been more successful in round 5 or round 6 or round 7? Why are you waiting until round 9 and round 10 and round 11 to try to do what you could do? He's tired, but you're tired too. And you also have a bruise on your eye, and you've been beat up in the face and in the body. So how do you expect yourself to try to get any type of success against Otto Wallin if you haven't really done much to break him down over the course of those rounds? Come on, man.
Yeah, that was really disappointing. Abel Sanchez is trash. You were absolutely right. Abel Sanchez is fucking trash.
I didn't even. Yeah, I thought dude was with I thought he was with Manny Robles. I didn't know he's with Abel Sanchez. He keeps switching trainers.
Yeah, he switched to Abel Sanchez.
What are you trying to save money? I think they be trying to save money and get discounts. That's what you can't be cheap in this boxing,
Well, I don't blame him for switching trainers, because the last time we saw him, he was getting obliterated by Deontay Wilder in the first round. So I don't mind the trainers for their good
Whoa.
Here's another thing to your point, Matt, right? When you talk about Deontay Wilder, of course, being the president of the Deontay Wilder fan club, but one of the things you do say about opponents of Deontay Wilder, after they face Deontay Wilder, their punch resistance goes way down, right?
I said that, motherfucker.
Oh,
yeah, I can't take credit for that. That was Mike Brady with his one.
I thought it was Matt. But it's not. I'm sorry. It's not the president of the Deontay Wilder fan club. It's the vice president of the Deontay Wilder fan club that said it. There you go. All right. Now, in this fight, there were so many times that when both Brazil and Wallin were throwing punches, you could see Dominic Brazil almost closing his eyes and gritting his teeth like he's anticipating a punch coming to him.
Yep.
I'm like, oh my God, this dude is shook. He is straight up.
Well, I didn't think about it like that. That's a great point. That's a great point. I didn't think about it like that.
Because here, my thing is, it's like, yo, when you are in a fight, you can't be going into that thing being afraid of what's coming back at you. Because, yo,
AJ, I just want to make a point to show the difference in Otto Wallin and Wilder and Anthony Joshua, right? And as far as the elite level heavyweights and then that next tier, right? So he outboxed the shit out of Dominic Brazil. But Joshua and Wilder got him out of there. Like, they show that, no, you don't belong in the ring with me, so you're not going to stay here with me 12 rounds. I'm going to get you. I don't get paid for overtime. This thing's going to end early. As a part of Otto Wallin, where he put on a boxing clinic, but Dominic Brazil kept coming.
Yeah,
Wilder put him out. Wilder put him out in one round.
Power, Millie. Some people just don't have as much power as them. Maybe they two of the biggest punchers in boxing.
Yeah, but it wasn't just the power. It was also he didn't have the reaction time that Deontay Wilder had, because in the first round, when Dominic Brazil got crushed by Wilder, he threw out that lazy left hook that Wilder just threw that right hand right down the middle and caught him with. He did the same exact thing with Otto Wallin in the first round, and Wallin could barely get to him.
Oh, okay.
It's just a difference in reaction time, man.
Yeah. You can't hook. You can't hook with a hooker. And Dominic Brazil tried to hook with, Deontay Wilder in that sense. And you just don't do that, especially with Brazil having he doesn't really have much in punch technique. Because if you saw that punch,
don't talk about it.
When Brazil threw,
don't, Jay. Please don't.
He dropped that guard. Pow! That's it. It's a wrap.
Yo, let's just be honest, right? It's not necessarily power, because there's plenty of people that punch hard but don't get a lot of knockouts. It's number one is timing and speed that actually gets you the knockout.
Yeah, but if you talk about timing and stuff, that means that people would have to admit that Deontay Wilder actually does know how to box a little bit. And you're not allowed to do that in boxing circles, because you have to say that he can't fight and he can't box.
When will he fight again? Give me that. When will he fight?
There is no human being that can time a right hand better than a straight right better than Deontay Wilder. I'm sorry. I don't care who maybe Floyd, but go look at the Arthur Spilka, go look at Dominic Brazil, go look at the Tyson Fury knockdown, go look at
the second Luis Ortiz fight. Oh my God.
Yeah, the second Luis Ortiz fight in Berchelt-Valdez. He puts that, I mean, straight on the button. You can split an atom with it.
You're right.
But everything else is just shitty.
But he wasn't doing that in that second fight though. He was not throwing any straight punches. He was throwing them like wider.
No, he threw the straight right. Fury just shaded it 3 times. He hit him 3 times with it in the second round.
Yeah.
I don't recall it being straight. I recall it looping more.
Well, you know what? You know why I was looping? It's because his water was poisoned. Okay, that's why.
Oh, here we go. Oh man, let's move forward. Like I said, Al-Waleed gets the win. Shout out to Al-Waleed. Shout out to our guy Dimitri Salita Promotions. Shout out to Joey Gamache. But like I said, always bet against Abel Sanchez. That's a lesson of the day.
Is he coaching Cecilia Brackers again?
Yeah, he's still coaching Cecilia.
I gotta ride with Jessica.
Of course. Now you had the main event there. Well, before the main event, you had Robert Easter against he had his win as well. So shout out to Robert Easter. He did his thing. What is that? His second fight at 140.
Yeah.
And he had this thing. What was it against Adrian Granados? That was a while ago though. But against Ryan Martin, I thought he was real sharp, really fast, and that type of stuff. So, he was like, "Hey, this was like Robert Easter. I ain't really seen, in a long time." I'm like, he's out there throwing 3 and 4 punch combos, 6 punch combinations. I'm like, yo, what's going on out here?
Jay, I've never seen him fight like that. I've never seen him lead with a jab. That's a different Robert Easter altogether.
Yeah.
Dangerous Robert Easter.
Yeah, I think the weight moving up makes a difference. So maybe Maurice Hooker, guy, because they tall and they moving up, it helps him out. He got a little. I don't know. It's just his base is in there. Maybe Maurice Hooker moving up will help him against Virgil Ortiz. That weight means something.
But didn't he have a different coach? Wasn't this a different coach?
You just slipped, Jalik. You just slipped.
The fuck you just say, Jalik, yo?
He hate Dallas. I don't know if it's because of the Eagles and the Cowboys, and he hate Jersey because of the tolls. I don't know what it is, bro. But
man, we
7
need
pounds.
to understand this. I am YSM Sports Media, and I'm not on my burner account. Maurice Hooker is garbage, yo.
He said
Maurice
that
Hooker is awful. Maurice Hooker is almost as bad as Rollies, and Rollies is terrible.
Let me ask you this, Millie. Did you think Medina was trash?
No.
So okay, what did Medina do that made you like him over Maurice Hooker?
Madonna is an awkward fighter that has good power.
Okay.
And is able to win fights that against guys who are much more talented than him.
Like who? Who did he beat that was more talented?
Adrian Broner is much more talented than he is.
Okay. But he was bigger. Okay. He started off.
He's much more talented than he is.
And he have a pretty decent motor too.
Yeah.
I like
Maurice Hooker is ass, yo. And not just a regular ass. A big old pooper. Big old ass.
So okay, if he beat Virgil,
cheese looking sloppy.
If he beat Ortiz, are you gonna think less of Ortiz? You gonna say he was overhyped?
If he beats Ortiz should never box again.
Oh man, Oh, you go forward, bro, Fred.
Maurice Hooker got like four.
He
He got like
appreciate that
four
question.
draws, bro. I've seen Maurice Hooker lose on like 3 occasions, bro. Real rap. If you go back to his fights, you've seen him lose, and they gave him draws because they were trying to push him forward. He's just not good.
Yeah, he could be a late bloomer. Who knows, man? I think he has to lose, but I mean,
Lee, come on, Lee, come on,
man.
I guess Rolly's is a blue chip prospect too, huh?
Nah, not Rolly. But he actually as far as the boxing business, he's good for the boxing business. He's a character. You gotta realize it's like television. It's like the entertainment business. So he has like the villain persona. They can match him up with Devin Haney and that'll sell. Just certain things from a business perspective is good, but he doesn't really have skills like that. Nah. But
Man,
it's a business, like you always say, Millie.
Yeah.
It is. And Maurice Hooker is garbage.
Yeah, he ain't really gonna make. I don't know if he gonna make anything move over there at 147. So that's that with them. And
yeah.
I felt like the thing with Easter, yeah, like Mike was saying, like you really hadn't seen him be like this almost like ever. I mean, we've seen his performance against Mikey Garcia. We've seen his performance against Javier Fortuna, where Javier Fortuna was getting into him. But yeah, now he was like putting a whole lot of punches together, keeping the distance away from, Ryan Martin. And like, as long as Ryan Martin wasn't getting into the inside, he really couldn't do much against, Robert Easter Jr. So as long as Easter was consistent with that jab and then, adding in the right hand and things like that, then he was all good. He was all gravy. So yeah, I'd like to see more of him there, 140 pounds.
So he was not with Matthew Stafford, right? That was Broner was with Matthew Stafford, but Easter was not, correct?
Stafford was on because I only seen 45 seconds. That name popped up 15 or something. Second guy or something.
Yeah, it's like a lot of.
You say he was or was not with him?
I think he was in the corner.
With Robert Easter, his head trainer, Robert Easter's head trainer is his dad.
Yeah.
That's who was it. Yeah, that's who was in his corner last night. So
second.
Yeah. So he's going to see if he can do something.
He had not been under Matthew Stafford because all this time he never jabbed, and that was his definitely game plan. That has never been his game plan ever. Even when he was against people like 5 foot nothing.
Even when he was like in his who was it? What was that? Comey, right? Or like you didn't see him do that against Shavakov. You didn't see him do that against Mendez.
He has a nice resume, yo.
Yeah, he does there. 135 pounds. So yeah, he was doing his little thing there.
Period. If you think about
is his resume better than Terrence Crawford? Jamil?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I mean, I'm a Terrence Crawford fan. I'm a Terrence Crawford fan, but go ahead. Break him down.
Mikey Garcia, Francis Barthélemy, Adrian Granados before this fight.
I mean, if you got Al and he got the guys, you're gonna get the resume, but you gotta win and look good. Like, come on, bro. Like that don't. Because let's be honest, Earl Spence' resume ain't superior to Crawford. It's like this, same.
Yes, it is.
No, it's
yes,
not.
Yes, it is.
Happened for Danny.
Fuck you just say, Lee?
Danny is a gatekeeper, bro. He
couldn't
against regular whole fight.
And I'm going to have some sound bites and playing them joints on this podcast because I would be like, some shit, yo.
Hey, Leek, what's the definition of a gatekeeper, Leek?
Listen, bro, he's the guy that you test out to see if he's not beating none of the champions. That's
not the definition of a gatekeeper. What's the definition of a gatekeeper, Leek?
The gatekeeper is like the guy my definition of gatekeeper is the guy like his name is there, but if he can beat him, like he's not gonna beat none of the champions, bro. He's not really a contender because you know he ain't gonna beat none of the names. Do you really think Danny?
Wait, hold on. Okay.
You really think Danny can beat Ugas? People confuse 140 Danny with 147 Danny. Danny is rich already. He's already rich, bro. He doesn't care no more.
That's not the definition of a gatekeeper, though, bro.
Jamil, that was his definition of a gatekeeper for Danny Garcia. So here's my question. Do you think that Sean Porter can defeat any of the champions?
Negative.
So you calling Sean Porter a gatekeeper too?
Done, bro. They done, man. They 30-something guys, man. He's tough, bro. Gatekeeper. He's like, you know what it is? He's like Glenn Cobb Johnson. You know what I'm saying? He like Glenn Johnson. But
that's not what a gatekeeper is.
That's how I define it. He ain't beating none of the. He always come up short. Danny always come up short, and so these guys.
That's not the definition of a gatekeeper, though, League.
Okay, what's the next
a gatekeeper? Okay, Luis Collazo is a gatekeeper, bro.
Yes.
So I was thinking of that too, Jamil. I wasn't gonna say
Josito Lopez is a gatekeeper.
Josito Lopez is a gatekeeper. There's elite fighters, there are contenders, and then there's gatekeepers, and then there's prospects.
So
but
Danny,
even with Luis Collazo still can beat these young guys.
Danny Garcia is a contender.
Nah, he rich, bro. He like Jose Cito. You know.
Oh my God! Wow!
Like
you
Jose
do.
Cito, bro. That you feed Danny to build his name, like to build the guy name up. What they need to do is feed Danny the boost, and then because people swear like this, and he's done. He's rich, man. I'm telling y'all, man.
Just bro, like you do. I said you
do. AB
shout out on the live chat. Champ Raw says Samuel Vargas is like a gatekeeper.
Yeah, Samuel Vargas is a gatekeeper. You got your Josito Lopez. You have your Luis Collazo at 35.
Yes.
Who's a gatekeeper at 35?
Oh man,
Raymond Beltran.
Yeah.
Raymond Beltran.
Yeah.
Now
Caleb Truax.
Truax
at 140 pounds. Who's at 140?
140 is kind of tough. These guys is just kind of starting out though. So 140.
Yeah, it's a bunch of dudes that's.
Yeah.
Wait, who is the guy that's the veteran at from Philly?
Ray Robinson?
No. Older than that. He was in that Jamil, he was in that fight card of the farmer. That farmer
you talking about Hank Lundy?
Hank Lundy, yeah.
Hank Lundy's a gatekeeper.
Hank Lundy is a gatekeeper. At 147, the gatekeepers is Sean Porter, Danny Garcia.
Oh my God!
But you know the gate real high. Your gate is really high.
All right. Wait. So
they gave a lot taller.
You know you can't be a gatekeeper and be in the top 5 and top 10, right? That's not a gatekeeper.
About popularity, bro. It's just like in a rap game. Guys can't.
Okay, really so tell me who's the top 10. Tell me who's the top 10 fighters at 147. Go ahead.
At 147, I say I say Crawford.
Okay.
This is my top 5. I got Crawford. I got Boost number 2. I got Earl number 3. I got Virgil Ortiz, and I got Ugas number 5.
You got two prospects. You wait. So
Ugas, they got a better chance of winning and beating those guys.
Whoa.
Sport, Millie.
Ugas has more losses than Porter and Danny.
Porter is tough, man. And if he beat Crawford, which I think he's gonna get knocked out, and I'm donating $100 if he lasts the distance. I'm donating $100. If you got a nice gym that needs some funding, let me know. I donate $100 if he make it the distance with Crawford.
Ugas has more losses than Danny and Porter, bro.
but he's on the upside in it, but he's winning though. And then
he's on the upside based off of what though? Who did he beat?
Listen, he beat Omer Figueroa, even though he was trained by himself and his sister trained him.
Would you give Danny props for beating Omar Figueroa?
Danny props?
Would you give him props for beating Omar Figueroa? Yes or no?
I don't know if he beat Omar Figueroa. He don't throw punches. And then did you see his performance against Red Cat? I'm basing it on performance as well. And then the younger guys,
Would you give Danny props for beating Omar Figueroa? Yes or no?
I would give him some props for that. That's a solid.
Yo, let me ask you a question, Jaleel.
Hold on before you ask that question. Before you ask that question, Matt. Chip or the chat said, "Yo, Jolly, you got to make it clear those are BBC gatekeepers." Oh, come on, son. Go ahead, Matt.
So Jaleel, you claim that Danny Garcia and Sean Porter are gatekeepers.
Yes,
but both guys would be the best names on Terrence Crawford's resume.
Being a gatekeeper, you can be popular.
For it?
Damn.
He said,
okay. Do y'all remember when the dude from Argentina knocked out Arturo Gotti? Arturo Gotti was just a name, but we know he was the gatekeeper. What's the dude?
I can't mention his name. I just slipped. I can't mention his name, given what he's done. I can't mention his
name. When he beat Arturo Gotti, it's levels to gatekeeping. It's called popularity and building your guy's name up. So if you stop then it builds your guy's name up. I'm telling you, bro. Danny Rich, bro. He don't throw punches.
Hey, yo,
listen,
you put two dudes.
Yeah, y'all know boxing, man. I don't gotta break it down.
I said you put two dudes in your top 5 that has never beaten anybody in the top 10.
But they're hungry and they're younger and they have a better chance of winning.
You understand? I said you understand that you're moving the goalposts? You're moving the goalposts right now.
How many times does come up short? Listen, how many times does Adrian Broner have to miss weight and not throw punches for y'all to recognize he's not going to throw punches? He's a gatekeeper.
We ain't talking about Adrian Broner, though. We ain't talking about Adrian.
We talking about your top 10.
Yeah, we're talking about Victor Ortiz, and we're talking about Boots Ennis right now before we get into Broner, because I'll get into Broner before the next segment. Because the next segment is going to be a little bit spicy for one of the panelists in here. So, yeah, go ahead with your assessment of your top 5, Brother Jalik. Oh, I thought he was going to continue.
Nah. Go. You want me to continue?
Yeah, you could go ahead and continue with your point about your top 5 before I get into the thing with
everything. It's levels to degrees and it's levels to everything. If you're a hater, it's levels to it. If you love people, it's levels to it. So gatekeeping is levels to it. So when you beat guys like Sean Porter and Danny Garcia, then it does boost your name. So being a gatekeeper is looked at as bad, but at the same time, to the people that beat the gatekeeper, it helps them along their career. So if you have a guy like, say, Virgil Ortiz, and he beats Danny, the gatekeeper, it propels him to that next level. Okay, if he can beat Danny, then he's ready for different guys, and that's just what it is. It's not. I mean, that's just the way boxing works. These guys is probably going to retire in a couple more fights. I mean, they always. How many times does a guy have to come up short, and you still call him a contender? Like what's up, bro? Like, I don't get it. Hey, Mill, how many times a day? I know you from Philly and you my neighbor, but how many times he has to lose for you to realize like what he is? Like, what's up, bro?
How many times the Ugas lost 4 times?
No, answer that. No, answer about the guy question.
When I'm saying to you, right? I don't think you have a good frame of what levels there are in boxing. You're completely missing a level. There are champions, there are contenders, there are gatekeepers, there are club fighters, and then there are prospects.
Nah, that you forgot journeyman. Is journeyman.
That's a club fighter.
Nah,
that's club.
Club fighter, yeah. It's a club fight. It's
Yes,
an old
club
terminology.
They'll
It's the
go
old
anywhere
terminology
and
for drinking.
use and being
Y'all
there to get a check.
missing it because journeyman is tough. Like Darnell Boone was hired in the club level because he buzzed. He dropped Andre Ward. He knocked out Adonis Stevenson, and he had a controversial fight with Kovalev, amongst others.
But Darnell Boone was underrated the same way that Luis Collazo is underrated for his skill set. They're both underrated fighters, but they still are.
Darnell Boone isn't a club fighter. He's a gatekeeper.
A club fighter is like
Good point.
I forgot club fighter. I gotta think of a club fighter.
Yeah. Hey, we might have to have that type of conversation in like another part of the show or another live segment here.
Go ahead,
you know what I'm saying? All right, so I wanted to get into this thing here real quick before this next break. Adrian Broner was going in there, 147 against Berchelt-Valdez. Both guys had trouble making it to 140. It was typical AB, being, according to him, I guess, economical with his offense, working on his defense a little bit. He did catch, Santiago in the 8th round with a counter that almost, had his, glove touch the canvas. But the scorecards had Broner with a clear win. A lot of people didn't really think so. And I was talking about it with the fight that Dominic Brazil had against Otto Wallin. I'm seeing those same signs a little bit with Adrian Broner when it came to his fight that he had against Marcos Maidana. For some reason, his level of confidence had changed drastically after that Marcos Maidana fight, because before that, not only was he willing to kind of like put punches together, 1, 2, 3, 4, but he was confident in taking a shot too. And I think that fight against Maidana, where he got knocked down a few times and everything like that, yes, he did get up, but I feel like he has something in his mind that gives him like less confidence in his punch resistance, that he doesn't feel like he could take a punch that well, whether it's at 147 or it's going to be at 140, because he's going to have a time where he's going to go up against a guy that could crack at 140. How is he going to deal with that? And I think that is what has held him back in fights of the caliber of, Mikey Garcia. Like, he could have won that fight against Mikey Garcia, but he just didn't, go at it balls to the wall. And I haven't really seen that from Adrian Broner ever since he made that jump from 135 to 147. He just hasn't gone balls to the wall against these opponents. That's my, quick assessment of it, of his fight. Anyone want to jump? First, let me see if I could get Matt to chime in here a little bit, as we got a few more minutes for the next break.
Well, I thought Broner was okay. I thought he won the fight. I know people think it's controversial. Everyone cares about punch stats all of a sudden. When they routinely say that CompuBox is wrong, now all of a sudden, because they want to use it to say that Broner lost, now CompuBox is the be-all, end-all. But that's just boxing fans for you.
He won a round without landing a punch.
Hey, Willie Pep, baby. Willie Pep. Willie Pep in this bitch, man. All right? And I saw people saying, oh, that wasn't a Willie Pep round. None of y'all motherfuckers saw Willie Pep live. Stop it.
Nobody.
Okay? Stop it. Why did
there ain't even no video of Willie Pep, buddy.
Exactly. Like, what are y'all even talking about, man?
Yo, somebody can post up a picture, claim it's Willie Pep, and y'all believe him.
Exactly. I have no idea what Willie Pep looked like. I just know that he fought in the put up your Dukes era. That's all I know. That's all I know about Willie Pep.
Put him up.
So it is what it is, man. I'm just happy AB back. I'm happy he's in better spirits. I would love to see him be more active, like he said he wanted to be.
Come on, Al Heyman. Come on, Steven Espinosa. Just keep me active, man.
Yeah.
Keep me active, and I won't be in trouble.
Hey, listen, that's real talk, because you know what? He got too much time on his hands, and you're starting to see these PBC fighters complain about inactivity. You heard it from Daniel Roman recently also. It was like, yo, this is disrespectful. When's my next fight? I'm not hearing anything. You had the Charlos who fought in September.
Just like Daniel Roman.
Why haven't they fought again yet?
That's a good
point. Like what's going on? Like even if these guys are not in huge main events, you should still be putting them out there. 4 times a year. Let's keep them sharp, especially the ones.
You saying that, but you know the circumstances behind what's going on. Money isn't the same, and a lot of those guys carry heavy guarantees and don't want to take a pay cut. So you know what it is.
So you saying about fighters?
What you were saying, Jellic?
That's a good live to even talk about that, because I think he could be over. He has too many He has so many fighters. It's hard to please that many fighters. Like even with, like we was talking about, Luis Nery leaving Robert Garcia. You training so many fighters. It gets to the point where you got so much on your hand, what you can do. That's why Caleb Plant, look at him. What is he doing from a boxing level, from a matchmaking level, to even prepare him for Canelo, let alone David Benavidez? I literally think Steve Nelson will crush Caleb Plant right now, but yet he's going to fight Canelo allegedly, and he hasn't really been put in the right fights to do that. He's fighting twice a year, but he should be fighting 4 times a year. So, Matt, I agree with you on that, bro. They don't got the right thing. That's why they might want to sign deals, but I don't know if I don't know how Al works, because I'm the type person that we work together. So I have my own mind, and I would be like, Al, this is what I think is best. Let me go to the zone, take a fight, and like Mill said, you guys maybe take a pay cut, go below your minimum just to stay active, because these guys ain't setting themselves up for legacy, nor putting them in the best position when they do get a real big fight. So it's crazy, man.
Bro, what world champion fights more than 2 times a year? Go ahead, please tell me.
Canelo.
I mean, just because whoa.
Canelo, when?
He about to.
When?
Yeah, he about to. He fought in December, he fight in February.
Wait. About to isn't doing.
So
when is the last time Canelo fought more than 2 times a year? I'll wait.
Well, listen, he about to fight, so that's 2 times.
See, no, I don't want to hear about.
So most people
we're talking about language here. So
here's the thing, Jamel. You're talking about fighting more.
Navarrete, that's the good point. Navarrete was doing it. He's very active.
Navarrete, I said, Navarrete fought 3 times last year. What you telling me?
Probably 1 year he fought like 4. 2019 was probably like 4 or 5. He was super active.
I said, and are you 100% sure?
Navarrete, bro, he's very. Go look it up, Mill. But I see what you mean.
I'm looking it up. Champions, because of their minimum, they don't fight more. It's like, yo, y'all want? Do y'all want Showtime? And I know y'all fans, so y'all don't care, but you got to think of this like objectively. You want them to spend $4 or $5 million on cards that's not pay-per-view? That's not going to happen.
The way you respond to every question, you definitely going to be working behind the desk. Al Heyman going to hire you, bro. I'm telling you, he going to hire you.
Bro, respectively, I work for me.
They going to hire you. They going to work. Hey, yo, Mill, they do business with you. They do some co-promotion because you think exactly like how they thinking.
I'm thinking about it like okay, there's people that front the money, right? So
Yeah.
they're going to work within the budget. Everybody
Right.
is losing money right now. I can't expect for you to throw Charlo, Caleb Plant, and Deontay Wilder on a card
On
3 or
one
4
card.
times a year.
But they
Yeah,
was
but
doing
here's the thing.
Yeah, that just ain't gonna
Here's the
happen.
thing. Here's the thing about that, right?
Hey, Matt.
Go ahead.
Hey, hold on, Matt. Hold on, Matt. We'll get right back at it here in a bit. So I'm gonna just have that little 5-second station identification shit, and then we're gonna get right back at it. This is some station identification bullshit. I'm just doing some time filler before we do all this joint going on. You know what I'm saying? So we'll have this thing fired up here once again real quick. All right, let's get it. We back at it. We had this conversation going about the business of boxing, and Jamil made a good point on it. So Matt was going to follow up on this thing. So go ahead, Matt.
So here's the thing. Jamil is saying that the reason why we're not seeing these guys more active is because of their minimum guarantee. But these guys have minimum guarantees for regular fights and for championship fights. And who's to say that these guys can't go to Al and say, hey, listen, I'll take it less. I won't even have to be the main event. Just put me on an undercard somewhere. I want to stay active. You remember Jared Hurd decided to get back in the game by being on Deontay Wilder's undercard. And Jared Hurd at that point was the main event fighter. So these guys can go to Al and say, I don't care what card you got coming up. Fit me on the card. I don't care if you put me against a club fighter, bum of the month guy. Just keep me active, keep me in the gym, and you'll have, it's not a big purse, but it's still money. You still got money coming in.
How many fighters do you talk to? And mind you, of course, I know, Matt. How many fighters you talk to?
I don't talk to nobody but you, man. You're the only fighter I talk to.
You alone. You talk to fighters a lot. You interact with fighters a lot.
Yeah, mostly getting blocked. Shout out to Jose Ramirez, you fucking bastard.
Yo, a lot of these dudes don't want to take shorts. Like Jared Hurd wasn't a champion anymore, so his minimum changed. But a lot of these guys, like Deontay, like the situation with Deontay Martin and Charles Martin, while I don't believe that people are saying that he asked for an exorbitant amount of money, but when the number came out, it's like, Deontay Wilder asked for 8 figures. 8 figures is a regular payday for Deontay Wilder. He is a 10 million plus fighter and has been for the last 3 or 4 years. So you can't pay him below that. You can't pay him below that threshold. He's a star. Unless Deontay Wilder's, and you can't even put on 3 to 4 pay-per-views in a year.
Yeah.
So you can't. Deontay Wilder can't fight more than 2 times a year.
Well, I can understand that for guys like Wilder, but Wilder to me is the biggest ticket guy that PBC has. So I'm not going to include him in that. But
from a business standpoint, though, with Wilder, I mean, now that he's gotten to that level, like you can't, like PBC can't really pay him or turn around and pay him like even double of what his maximum was before he had his first pay-per-view. Like he was getting about 2.5, million for the first Ortiz fight. But once he hit pay-per-view, the minimum guarantee off that, it kind of went up to 7 base, but you're going to have to, come up with a good amount, because how much did he get paid for that Brazil fight that was on Showtime? What was that guarantee once again?
It was like 18 to 20 million, something like that.
Thank you.
So it was a dub.
Yeah, it was a dub because they matched. So they ain't going to put up a dub or 7 figures or 8 figures. Yeah, they ain't going to put up 8 figures unless they know that they could put it in a position to where they can maximize their revenue.
But I'll be honest with you, I don't believe in Deontay Wilder's story anyway, for the simple fact that Deontay Wilder seems to be focused on this Tyson Fury fight, and they seem to be focused on actually winning this arbitration. So anything the mass media puts out there, I'm going to take with a grain of salt, because it's clear to me that they're all trying to will Fury versus Joshua into existence, and they're hoping that Wilder would get fatigued and drop his case. So I'm not listening to anything, any reports anybody put out there about Deontay Wilder's situation, unless it comes directly from Wilder.
I'm gonna say this to you, man. Fury versus Joshua is definitely happening. Whenever Deontay Wilder deems so. Fury versus Joshua will happen whenever Deontay Wilder deems so.
Yeah.
For any Fury or Joshua fan, he's either going to get his fight or take an exorbitant amount of money. No ifs, no ands, no buts.
Yeah, they're gonna have to have that oil money. You're gonna have to have somebody from be like, yo, here's $50 million, bro. Can you just let this fight happen?
Nah, I wouldn't. No, not no 50 million, because
Well, they're gonna have to see how much money Daniel Kinahan's drug operation makes in order to see how much they're gonna have to pay Deontay Wilder.
Are they gonna pay him in keys? They may pay Deontay in keys.
Or they can pay him ways too. They can give him like it's certain property or something. I don't know. It's gonna be
it might be a crazy shipment coming, and
yes,
that's gonna hit Florida.
They might give him a private island.
It'll show up. It'll show up on the Florida shores at about 2:47 a.m.
Yeah, they can reduce his taxes, give him an island or something like that, or it's something. I mean, I don't know, but I think it's gonna be interesting to see how this stuff plays out, man.
They should just go ahead and get whatever the hang up is over with. Just move on and do that thing, man. Back on the thing with Broner, he also was talking about Regis Prograis talking trash, and that he said that he will fuck Regis Prograis up. But he also said that he doubts that the fight between him and Prograis is next. But when if that fight happens, I'm sorry, but I'm leaning towards Prograis, bro. I'm leaning towards Prograis, man.
Depends on how many fights Broner has in between his fight and Prograis, because
it
I
doesn't.
think Prograis is a little dude. Okay, Prograis is a little dude. So while we always question whether AB could be a real 147 because he doesn't have the power to keep him off of him, Prograis is not 147. Prograis is a small 140. Prograis wouldn't even fight Maurice Hooker at 144. So I think
it's over, man.
They keep Broner active.
It's over, man.
It's not over, man. I'm telling you.
It's over, man.
Do I have to put in another title for Matt and call him the president of the Adrian Broner fan club?
About billions, baby. Let's go, AB. We back. We back.
About billions. Always busy.
So he going life and death. He going life and death with bus boys, man. It's over. It's over, yo. He going life and death with dudes with regular jobs, man. It's over. It's over, man.
Yo, you do know that Broner is like a short, stout guy. So if he gets to 140, going up against a guy that's a little bit taller in Prograis, you talk about him trying to be active, then he gonna have to start throwing them hands against Prograis, because Prograis is not going to stop being on his. So if he gonna do that, he gonna have to throw something that'll make Prograis respect him. And like I said with Broner, I still don't feel like he is confident in completely taking a punch.
Yeah,
I don't.
He ain't confident in his conditioning. His outside. He can't be playing around with boxing, so all that makes a difference,
Yeah, and he leading up to this whole thing for last night's fight date or whatever it is, he was talking about being in the gym, getting progress, getting himself down, cutting himself, as far as like weight goes and everything like that, and saying that he's feeling good and everything like that. But you gotta be like, I don't see him being hungry, and that's the thing. He's talented, but he's not hungry. And if you don't have that type of hunger in the ring, you gonna run into guys that are hungry, that want to get theirs, and will do anything in their power to not lose. So
yeah, but how is he not hungry if he's asking Al Heyman and Steven Espinosa to keep him active? To me, that's a guy that's looking to change.
It's one thing to be active, but it's another thing to go up against fighters that that you're supposed, like you say, Matt. If you have guys in the ring that that they should get them out of there, then you should get them out of there.
That is true.
You like Giovanni Santiago should not be in the same stratosphere as Adrian Broner, given Adrian Broner's, curriculum vitae, resume, or whatever. But yet he was able to go through 12 rounds with Adrian Broner. Like, you can't have that if you aspire to say that, hey, I'm going to become a 5-time champion. Like, you got to be able to dust off guys like Giovanni Santiago. You got to be able to.
If they offer me the AB fight, I'm taking it.
Oh man, the chat. This champ dude on the chat said that Adrian Broner just beat the janitor who's the next school principal. Oh man, see, that's dirty, son. That's dirty. That is dirty, man.
I hope AB get his finances together or whatever, just on a personal level. I like AB. You never really touch somebody, but he already showed you what he can do. He remind me of Zab Judah after a while. He can scream at the TV, throw punches. So that's why I just don't got time to do it. So it's best for me not to even watch him, go out like that.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's there 31 years old, and he got to get himself, straight or whatever it is, because I think he only has about, a couple more years in the pro game, really. Because I mean, he's been in there for a good little bit, man. Like, he's been a pro almost as long as our boy Mr. Canelo Alvarez, man. So, almost been 13 years. That's crazy.
He turned pro in 2008, right? He was in that class.
Yeah.
So Ubu Andre, Gary Russell, he was at that crowd. Yeah.
Yep, Gary Russell, but all the guys that were part of the Olympic team, including Wilder. So they're pretty much up there as far as like pro experience. So yeah, that's the thing with Broner. But now I want to get into the topic that I've been waiting to get in. It is more of a interesting topic than the actual fight that's coming up on Saturday in Miami. Of course, yes, El Campeon Canelo Alvarez will be fighting in the Hard Rock Stadium against Canelo-Yildirim. Yeah, okay, cool. But when we have our guy that was dry snitched on Facebook, Mr. Matthew Brown, he had a post on there talking about this whole thing with Canelo and Artur Beterbiev. Now, I want Mr. Matt to kind of go into that particular topic and what it's about, because I got a little response or reaction to that. So go ahead, Mr. Matt.
So a little background. Artur Beterbiev, we all know who he is. 175 unified champion, lineal champion at 175. A lot of people are claiming that this guy's the boogeyman. Nobody wants to fight him, blah, 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 blah. In May 2019, on May 4th, Canelo and Artur Beterbiev Both fought on the same day in different cards. Okay. After that fight, Canelo was looking to move up to 175 because he wanted to be a 4-weight world champion, first Mexican to ever do that. He says that he called up Artur Beterbiev in order to make a fight between him and Beterbiev for that IBF title that Beterbiev was holding at the time. And Beterbiev turned the fight down. Now, I'm not saying Beterbiev was ducking him, because here's the thing. He turned the fight down because he instead wanted to unify against Alexander Vosdik, who was the WBC champion at the time. Now, a lot of people are not going to have a problem with that. But I have a problem with that because to me, it's just a microcosm of what's wrong with boxing. Everybody is belt chasing. You cannot want to be great, but you're turning down Canelo to chase a belt. Who's going to remember Artur Beterbiev that he beat Vosdik? Nobody. But if Artur Beterbiev would have beat Canelo, people would still talk about his name right now. So the Eastern Europeans got mad. They're like, oh, it's not true. Canelo's lying. Why would Canelo lie about that? You've never, in Canelo's whole career, seen Canelo clout chase any fighter ever. Canelo even has a history of telling you he's not going to fight somebody and telling you exactly why. All you got to do is look at Demetrius Andrade. Canelo said, I'm not fighting him. He's boring. I don't care about him. And people get mad at it, but guess what? At least he's being honest about it. Artur Beterbiev has a history. He has a history of turning down big fights against big opponents and then later say, oh, no, I'll fight them. He did the same thing with Kovalev. When Kovalev challenged him and wanted to fight him, instead of fighting Kovalev, he tried to go the IBF route to fight like 50-year-old Bernard Hopkins. Okay, and then later, oh, I beat Kovalev in amateurs. Kovalev is scared of me. You can't do that. Take the fucking fight, you know? So I don't want to hear from Artur Beterbiev now, oh, yeah, I'll fight Canelo right now. Well, what happened in 2019? Why did you not want to fight Canelo when y'all were on the same timeline? Makes no sense to me, and that everybody's up in arms about it.
Can I rebuttal? Can I rebuttal that?
Yeah, go ahead and rebuttal.
Okay, so a lot of people are calling the Canelo reaching out bullshit. I think it actually happened, and I'll tell you why. Right. So if you look at that particular time, Artur Beterbiev was looked at as a big puncher, but not this world beater as he's looked at now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you know anything about boxing, you know he never talked to Artur Beterbiev. So when he says, I call Artur Beterbiev, no, you didn't. Your people reached out to
Mark Ramsey.
Your people reached out to his people, but
yeah,
you didn't talk to Marcus. No, you talked to Bob. You talked to probably Ramsey and Bob, right? And Bob promotes both Beterbiev and Kovalev. Now, if Canelo is looking to move up to 175 pounds, right? And you already have a plan to make a Vosdik versus Beterbiev, and you get a percentage off of whatever purse your fighter would get in a cross promotion, wouldn't it behoove you to send the guy that you know is going to garner the higher payday?
Yes, sir.
And who is expendable?
12 million.
So in my eyes, Bob sent Kovalev over there to take an L. He got his 12 million along with a 2-fight deal where DAZN is going to pay Kovalev $2 million to fight on their platform. So in a sense, Bob got his unification bout and got whatever percentage he was getting off that 12 mil. That sounded like it was a Bob Arum move.
Well, I'll put it like this, and I'll open it with Beterbiev responded, right? And he said Nobody gave me a call for an offer for this particular fight.
No, he said no offer was made, right?
No offer was made. So
Yeah, but if I call you and Bob tells me, "Oh, I got something lined up for him," but Kovalov's available, that's
here's the thing that I didn't understand at that particular time period.
yeah.
Hey, the whole thing about Canelo and Beterbiev. Guess what? This is new to me because I remember around that time during summer, right? Canelo had beat Daniel Jacobs, so he got the IBF title, right? And they were in the mix of trying to set up Canelo's next fight. There were potential opponents that were brought up for Canelo Alvarez. One that was immediately dismissed was Demetrius Andrade. He was immediately dismissed, okay? Then they had another fighter up there that they were going to offer. It was Sergey Derevianchenko, who was the IBF mandatory. And that fight ended up falling through. And because of that, the IBF stripped Canelo. And Canelo was like, what the fuck? Canelo is one guy that says, hey, if someone wants to fight me like that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fight him. So, and Matt knows this, when they had that matchmaker for Golden Boy that screwed all of that up, that's what pissed them off, which eventually ended up having them leave Golden Boy. So Golden Boy was in the moves or in the midst of also working with Bob Arum and Kathy Duva to make that Kovalev fight on the caveat that Kovalev beats Anthony Yarde. Because once Kovalev had that win over Anthony Yarde, I remember Kathy Duva celebrating like a motherfucker because she knew that was the ticket to fight Canelo Alvarez. And so once that fight was announced, I wasn't surprised. But this whole thing with Beterbiev, I hadn't really heard about that up to that particular point in 2019. Only potential opponents I heard was Andrade, then Beterbiev, and then after that ended up being Kovalev. So either way, Bob still gets paid because Kovalev was, like I said, under the thing there with Bob Arum, but actually not for that particular event. I'm on the record. And on November 2nd, 2019, that event was under Golden Boy and main events. Bob wasn't really involved in it unless if he got some type of a side deal. So this thing with Beterbiev, I don't know, man. I just don't know. I know it's El Campeon, but I'm not buying it. I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. I just think that at that particular time with Canelo going back and forth with Golden Boy Promotions, that he could have called or could have reached out, but as far as like making an actual fight, Beterbiev wasn't in the conversation. He wasn't on the list like Chris Jericho. He wasn't on the list, man. I'm sorry. He just wasn't on the list. So I feel like there's going to be there may be a little bit more that comes out of it, but right now it's too late. We already know the plans for El Campeon. He's going to go ahead and take care of business against Canelo-Yildirim. Then he's going to go ahead and take care of business against Billy Joe Saunders. And then he's going to go ahead and take care of business against Caleb Plant and be undisputed super middleweight champion. And then maybe he'll consider moving up to 175, but I doubt it.
Nah, I think he's circling back to Charlo. I think that's the fight that Reynoso likes as a challenge. And they know it's going to be a huge fight in Texas if you have Canelo versus Charlo in Houston.
Listen, if you have that fight, I mean, we kind of talked about that as a potential fight after Charlo beat Derevianchenko, but we thought it would be, eventually happening this year. But if Charlo actually does move up to 168 and he has a fight against a guy that could try to stay at 168 pounds, and I'm talking about David Benavidez, and he beats David Benavidez, then his stock goes up, 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 up and away. And him against Canelo Alvarez, man, listen. Yo, yeah, that's instant sellout by my G. That's instant sellout.
Yep.
So I feel like, the thing with Canelo, like Canelo does, have that mentality that he does want to fight all challengers, but at that particular time, with him being under Golden Boy and being on that bullshit, like I really didn't think that fight was going to materialize anyway. Even if he reached out to Beterbiev, I didn't think it was going to materialize. Whether Beterbiev was going to go for unification or not, Golden Boy was kind of on that BS. So, like you see what they were doing with Ryan Garcia for a little bit before they cleaned up their act. Now that's all they got.
Yeah, that's true.
So that'd be my thing on it, man. Yeah, you do have like I said, he's going to be there against Canelo-Yildirim next week in Miami, Hard Rock Stadium. That's going to be, barbecue chicken. I know they were sparring partners and everything like that, but come on, man. Like, this is barbecue chicken. Julio Cesar Martinez, I feel like that's going to be barbecue chicken too. McWilliams Arroyo's barbecue chicken. The only toss-up I see, Joseph Parker against Junior Fa. Now, we talk about Joseph Parker, and the saying goes, hey, he may be pretty good and things like that, but he ain't no killer.
Nope.
And with him being like that, like he losing to, Dylan White, losing to Anthony Joshua, having these type of efforts. If Junior Fa is hungry, then he could end up beating Joseph Parker. I don't care how many times Joseph Parker has been sparring with Tyson Fury or any of these, other big heavyweights. If Junior Fa is hungry and knows what's in front of him and knows that he wants to take that title of being the guy to represent New Zealand in the heavyweight division, he gonna go after Joseph Parker.
Yep.
And I'm not sure if Parker's gonna be able to get out of this one, man. Like you said, man, it just looks like Parker's too nice, man.
Well, we'll see what Junior Fa got. We'll see.
That'd be my thing on it. It's like, yo, how is Parker going to approach this fight? Because I mean, this is basically, I guess if he loses this fight, then he becomes a gatekeeper in the heavyweight division.
Well, apparently he's a gatekeeper already, according to our guy Jalik.
Yeah, just ain't beating nobody. He's definitely plus he hasn't been active, so he's more of a gatekeeper,
I mean, he was part of that card of the Mikey Garcia, Jesse Vargas card in Texas, but he went up against the guy that was against the guy that I could have called as a cruiserweight. Like Winners is a cruiserweight and a heavyweight, man. I'm sorry, but yeah,
how he performed. He ain't up to that,
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know, man. I'm seeing Junior Ford being hungry and getting that win. So
he better.
Yeah, I know, right?
Because Lou DiBella desperately needs to get back in the mainstream game.
Yeah, man. Lou, come on, Lou. We need something. We need something,
Yeah,
Lou.
Lou needs somebody. His best bet is Amanda Serrano beating Katie Taylor. You know.
So nobody give a fuck about women's boxing on the major level. Stop it. Stop it.
But that is still put his name out there. You know what I mean? I can't think of nobody else he has on the men's side that give him a chance.
He got the big Uzbek guy, the one that beat up the Olympic kid.
Oh God!
Okay, he got David Avenesian. You got him?
No, the Uzbek guy, the heavyweight.
Oh, okay.
The one that was a pro, still fighting in the amateurs and knocking niggas out, just knocking niggas out in the amateurs while he's still a pro.
Hey, I mean, he got Richard Comey, man. Richard Comey won, yo.
Richard Comey is dangerous. Like, he's a contender because he's dangerous.
I mean, he had he's had like some, he had a not so good thing there last year, man. Derevianchenko lost, Tevin Farmer lost.
He lost a lot of fighters. Yeah, he lost.
Cleary lost. Ivan Baranchik was part of the KO of the year. He got knocked out.
Yeah, he gone through some challenges. He don't got no champions, and
I mean, he's trying to get George Kambosos to fight Teofimo Lopez.
He'd be good for television programming / management with the PBC. But I know him and Al Heyman. I don't know if they work together because that situation where he tried to get Deontay Wilder to battle, Al Heyman.
Yeah, so he has to get himself in the thing for his fighters. So we got to see what's up, man. So what's up with guys like Oshaki Foster and Felix Diaz, But yeah, he
Felix Diaz ain't been the same. Felix Diaz also was with Al Heyman too, so I don't know. So with that,
we'll see, man. But yeah, this was an extensive little podcast. Thanks for everyone that's joined in on the live, y'all. Also, to shout out to the folks that were in the live chat here. We got this thing going, crack-a-lacking. We're gonna get back at it here next week, the 28th. Hey, like I said at the end of every show, folks, the point of boxing is to hit and not get hit, not to stand and trade. On that note, I'm out. Have a good evening,
Squad, baby.
Peace. Thanks for the invite, bro.
Yeah, no doubt.